Okay, late day Q&A here, closing the market down, coming into the last 30 plus minutes. So start a couple minutes early here. And, open forum is what we're going for here. Try to fill the dead air. Anything interesting I can think of or is catching my eye. But, this is for trade ideas users or for anybody that's, interested in trade ideas. Fire away the questions. Love demonstrating stuff, sharing what I know about the platform. I know a lot. Always something new to learn, even for some of us that have used it for a long time. So we learn and grow together. So I'm watching the questions panel here. Look silent here for a moment. We'll start to click around, see what's going on anywhere. See a few more starting to join. Again, keeping this as an open forum for anybody that is a trade ideas user or interested in trade ideas. Who we are, what we do, what our capabilities are. These are the things we can do here with scanning. So please fire away the questions. I guess we'll start with an end of the day Holly recap here, or ending of the day Holly recap here. DTLR. So we have that alerted. Let's see, at 7 after the hour of 11 Eastern, so 11:07 Eastern. There's DTLR. 186 on the nose was her entry or alert price, and we're sitting up right now a $1.14 from that entry price, it looks like, and jumping to a $1.17 there, right there. So this is the candle we get the entry on. David, how are you? Glad to have you. Thank you. So again, Dave, if you got questions, interrupt me. I'm filling airtime right now until anybody has some questions, they start firing away for me. So yeah, with that in mind, this was the candle that we got the alert on. No, I did one or two random ones trying to kind of work out some of the kinks that we have with streaming and things like that, and the stream ending and starting a new one. A couple of weeks ago, we had to find some workarounds for some things with how we normally broadcast. Then I started last Thursday at 3:30 is what I've settled on, what I can do for a start. So I'm going to run 3:30 to 4:30. I'm going to try to do this Monday through Friday, 3:30 to 4:30, depending on what my, after work schedule is. There might be some days where I stick around a little later than 4:30, but it'll be a 3:30 start. And as long as, give it, obviously, I won't say exactly how much time to make sure we can pick up steam, but, if we go, 3 months into this and there's, two people and nobody's ever talking or asking me questions, then, maybe we won't keep the stream going. But, I want to try to create some more Q&A, a little more access, live information here for you guys, or live, tutorials. Yeah, so, we're going a minimum of an hour. If it's, been dead the entire session, at 4:25, I might peel out of here. When I give times, they're always going to be Eastern times since I'm in New York. But the idea is to, get another hour of live resources in here for everybody, try to figure out some ways to get some people some more help, throw some ideas around. Like I like to say, learn and grow together here. So who knows, you guys might ask a question that, snowballs into something great for some kind of scanning or idea, or, feature request. Who knows what can come out of this. So what my idea is, keep the trade ideas live community growing a little more time. So again, it's open forum. Fire away the questions, anybody. Like I said, I'll fill in dead air time. Kind of have a tentative idea of what we'll do or what I'll go over when nobody's popping in questions. I'll probably do a little Holly recap. I'll talk about, for now, this list that I've created here, and how I'm trying to work my way into automation. Some more realistic ideas on automation. I know it's the big sexy ideas. I'm going to automate my trading, and I'm going to go play golf and press play on my trading, and that's That's just not realistic. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but that shouldn't really be the realistic end, expectations of this. So with that, again, interrupt me if you guys have questions. With that, I'm just gonna go around the horn on Holly here. So like I was saying, DLTR, right here on this candle is where we make that entry, and she makes pull up right away, and we get more or less range bound here for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 15-minute candles before she starts to break loose again. We pull back a little bit into a range again, and we're making our way back up again today here in this last 45 minutes. A pretty solid alert, because if we look at that alert and we compare it to what the SPY has done all day, so we'll bring a 15-minute chart of the SPY over here. We're going to zoom a little bit, make it match. The SPY has been a little more range bound and wobbly today, where this is, it made that initial move up, and it's kind of been a steady slope up since. So it's moving on its own, separate from the indices. It is a NASDAQ stock, but however, the SPY is very tech heavy now over the last couple of years also. So, the way tech goes, more or less, the way the SPY is going now too. Not the same weighting as the NASDAQ, but all the same, if Apple's getting crushed, if Google's getting crushed, you better believe the SPY's getting crushed. Can you touch on items that you look for when deciding trade breakout or deciding not to take a breakout? I can kind of go over what I'm looking for more or less. I'm more of a slow pace kind of swing position type of trader. I really try to stay away from things that are moving real fast intraday, large spreads and things like that. So let's see. Let's pull up some tools here. Time and sales. So let's see if I can find an example of something I dislike. Probably later in the day it might be tough. Some of these alerts that come through on Barry's scanners early are really whipping around with large spreads. So no, I don't have a good example of any here. I would imagine this was something I would not have liked this morning, though. For later in the day, 3 cent spread, 4 cent spread right now, I'd imagine this was something early in the day I would stay right away from. What I like to do is I like to find stocks that are breaking out of a range. A 20-day range is kind of my particular favorite item to go to, or favorite indicator to go to, filter to go through. And I like to find those that are breaking about 75% above the low of that 20-day range. They have some decent liquidity, so something that's traded at least today, let's say 750,000 shares, and then I try to find closing more towards the upper end of the day. So I have a scan that looks for those. I call it my evening scan, and I put those on a short list. I use the my like symbols list. I click the heart on the charts here, and they go on this list here. This my like top list is all it is just a top list with no filters or anything like that. It just only looks at those stocks that I'm asking it to look at. So that's kind of that's how I do my scanning, my work. I leave Barry's option scanner here. In earnings season, it did well for me back in, I guess, what was August was the last set of earnings. So I leave it there for that. But some of these are tough traders for me. I don't want to see things too extended. So, let's see if I can find something that I've traded not that long ago. Okay, something like AR here. I like to find patterns that look like this. And now I'm very biased to these patterns. My eye is going to catch them kind of easily, but I like to find things that do this kind of thing here. So I didn't get this one, but I liked it in here, and it made this big jump, and I didn't want to chase it. And I didn't follow it through here, which hindsight, I wish I had. But this is the kind of thing that I'm looking for. I was ready on the setup here, back in here, but I just didn't pull the trigger there. And then left the station that one day, and then I didn't think, wasn't sure is energy going to carry through AR's natural gas and petroleum. So, but that's kind of the idea of what I'm looking for, more or less. And then I use, various different things. The main averages that I use when I'm trying to share size and decide my stop are an 8 EMA, a 20 SMA, and a position in 20-day range. This black one here that gets like flat and kind of like stairs almost, that's a low period 20-day. So depending on how extended I am off any of these things is how much momentum seems to be behind those and how much I'm willing to gauge the risk. So that's kind of my 2 cents on there. I see Michael had something here. Use single stock window. Present a stocks pre-market high, yesterday's high. Okay, so on the single stock window, let's go in here. So we'll right click. We're going to come into configure on the single stock window, and so for yesterday's high, we look for position and range. Position and range, and so position previous day's range, and we could add that on there. All right, and that would put that up here for us. For pre-market, we could do above. We could do above or below pre-market as a filter. So there's above. Let's do this like this: pre-market. So you have these two filters that you could add in here. Above or below pre-market. Those are the two that I would run you towards for the pre-market. And 52-week high. 52-week high, I think it takes a custom because we don't have 52-week as a filter. Yeah, so you need a custom for the 52-week one. So, Michael, if you want to do this, because I'm not going to dive down customs right now, send an email. There saying you're interested in customs and you want to have a custom filter for 52-week highs that you can, you'll be able to use it in a single stock window or a scan or anything like that. Because the way we currently scan 52-week high would be as the alert window. So like if you came to an alert window, configure, and we go to search, we go to new high here. All right. When we add that alert here, what we can do is we can put in 365 as the value in this box, which equals 52 weeks. So it's how we actually alert for a 52-week high, new 52-week high. But we can get you a range of that with the custom filter because we have the data point for it. It's just not as a filter set. So head there for that, and you'll be able to get that there. Yeah, David, energy sector overall, I'm very bullish on the energy sector. It's just that it's one of those things that, you get crushed one way or the other with a single, country saying something about, alternative energy or, energy crisis, this or whatever. So, specifically for AR, we'd made a real good pull up here on a percentage basis there. And like I said, I was ready to pull the trigger. I was late. It made this move, and then it collapses the next couple of days. And I was like, all right, well, I'll hold off. And hindsight trading is always the best, but that's the way that worked for me. That's that in a nutshell, more than less. I can go over now. We're going to load from cloud. We'll bring up my evening scan. I suspect there'll be at least one or two items here that will be of interest to me for the evening. Let's take a look. A lot on that list. Some days this list is bare. There's almost nothing on this. Typically what I will do is not load this till about 5 minutes after the market closes and then go through these lists to see how things closed and where we're sitting in these different positions and ranges. There'll be some stuff that's going to be extremely extended on it. I just like to look at everything regardless. This is not, I wouldn't touch that with your money type of thing. That's a warrant anyways, but all the same. Again, this is probably something I wouldn't touch yet. See, things like this, there's no, what am I basing that trade off of? And, I'm buying up here, I've got all the way to there to fall and share sizing for a $5 stock. It just doesn't have a risk reward that I enjoy looking at. And all the power, there are people that can trade this stuff like nothing, and all the power to them. I'm not one of them. So, I like to look at it anyways. There are a few things that I do with this list. So obviously first is I'm looking for kind of cup and handle patterns on the daily chart. So this is something that kind of interests me here. There are things that interest me and not interest me here. So we'll look at this pattern that plays out over and over here. And we can take it a step further on the bullish side of things. All right. We even saw it happen here, back here. And so we've got that floor. This floor is lower than that floor just by a smidge, but it's lower. And this floor is higher than this floor. And this floor is higher than this floor. Now we ask ourselves, have we put in a new floor here? The one thing that I will say to watch for on this is you're probably got bag holders sitting here. And you can better believe that those people are going to meet supply and demand. So here's your supply, here's your demand. All right. They're going to be selling this off to all these people here. But at what point is that supply exhausted and this demand exceeds? And one might say, based on the price action of this chart moving up in a nice line like that, we might be meeting that range right now. And so that's something that I like. I do like the look of that. But then we come to the things I don't like about it. And it's all putting a puzzle together. So now we're going to bring this over in my time and sales again. And just looking at that right now, that spread this late in the day, I'm not crazy about that. Then we've got a 2 million float, which means that this thing could drop like a rock instantly. The same as it could do this up, it could do that down. So I'm not crazy about that. All right. So those are the things that would make me weary, not jump right in. But all the same, it interests me a little bit. So we've got this heart in the corner, and I'm going to stick it on the list and keep an eye on it. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And now that will eventually make its way to populate on this scan here once the list updates in a moment or two, however long some list takes to filter itself back to over here. So this is one of the things that I do with my evening scan. All right. And like I said, it's a puzzle, Yes, I like parts of this chart, but what are the other, what's the rest of the picture that I'm looking at here? So anyway, so we're there with that. Let's see, let's keep moving along. That was what we just looked at, GRB. Nothing there that interests me. And especially, you see things like, this big wick up and that wick, and it's given a lot of these days up, and this big move up, and then we're crushed for the rest of the time here. So that's, just something I'm not willing to gamble on. And again, someone might be making $1 million on it. It won't be me. Now this gets to be extended, but it's something that I was watching a while ago. Let's see. I'm going to pop this out, duplicating the free floating window. So something with the my like symbols. Unfortunately, in the container window, just the way things work right now, when we put the cursor over the heart, it doesn't tell me anything. But when the charts popped out, if you put this over the heart, you can see when I liked it. So I liked this actually on September 13th at 8:35 a.m. in the morning. So I was doing some pre-market scanning and found this then, probably using this because I hadn't scanned the night before. So it's a way to know when this came in, populated on my list right here. And so we can count back the days to, where's the 13th? And there. So on this day there is when I found this, and it's gone on to a nice little move here, and it coincides with exactly what I'm looking for. That pattern. All right. And I found it back here. And so, nice little move there since then. This is what I look for. This is how I look for things. What catches my eye. And again, I'm biased to this pattern. I'm going to see it more often than other people do because it's what I want to see. So I understand that. Understand there'll be a lot of those false patterns that, I'm going to see again because of my bias. And that's why there's, more than just the pattern to it. But this is what I do. I go through this. The second fold of what I do with the scan is I start to pay attention to what is everything in this scan from. So if anybody happened to be here last Friday, and as I was going through this, out of probably the 30 stocks that we covered on this, 15 of them were energy. So to have 50% of a scan looking at one sector like that, that told me something. Look at energy. All right. If we are to bring over my sector analysis list here, energy, 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 bank, bank, and while not necessarily energy, I'll call materials energy related because you need materials for energy. So pretty big deal. pretty big deal. And again, there's another energy. So look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 out of those 8 top ones there, out of those 8 top sectors right now, performing for the day, are all energy. And let's look at their change in 5 days right here. All right. So if we look at this change in 5 days, every one of those over 5 days is up with the exception of uranium, which uranium went parabolic. So it's to be expected that it's now had a bit of a pullback. And we'll see if that pullback lasts, if we can consolidate and move up again. But again, so it's a lot of ways to use scanners here, and people, discount, how valuable scanners can be in the information that it's displaying when you're just looking for a specific move, if you will. So, I hope this is, some decent information here. It makes sense and, is giving you all some value and another way to look at how the scanners are used and how the data is used. So again, it's an open forum and I'm just kind of filling airspace at this time. So please, fire away the questions, anything you guys want to ask or see or have demonstrated. And get these lined back up again. So I'm going to come to the bottom of this list for now. Take a look to see what's happening on the bottom of this list. So I don't know what that is, but that's not very interesting to me. When you see things jumping around like that, that's an ugly, ugly, ugly chart. So lo and behold, gas and electric. All right. And that's what I'm seeing. Cup, handle. All right. Now some things to notice here, you got that right above. Reasons for energy to be up today. Yeah, there's an energy crisis going on all over the entire world right now because everybody thought they were going to shift to green energy without any plans. I mean, that's there's literally gas stations in England or in whatever the UK that have no gas. They're just shut down because they have no gas. Nat gas prices, I believe, are the highest they've ever been in all of Europe right now and the UK. Nat gas prices are at multi-year highs in this country right now, and we haven't even started heating season in the northern hemisphere. All these different pipelines that have been shut down and supply issues and things like that. There's no, I want to stay away from all the politics of it. The bottom line is there's no thought into turning any of this stuff off and where the energy would come from. We still need the energy regardless. So, there's a lot of people that are speculating that the energy crunch gets worse from here. And right now, that's what the price action is looking to say the same thing. Does this last for a year, 5 years? I don't know. But on Twitter today, I poked a little fun at Kathy Wood because a little over a year ago, she said that oil would be at $12 a barrel. And here we are sitting at $75 a barrel a year later. We'll probably see natural gas at $12 a unit before we see oil at $12 a barrel, to be honest. So, people just want to pretend like we can just shut things off and there's no consequences to any of it when an entire civilization for 150 years is built around something. It just doesn't work that way. You're coming back to the scan again. There's peers. There's the moves. All right. So your cups and handles all the way through. You've got to be careful. It's pharmaceutical, so you never know what's going to happen with that. Fairly liquid, 1.4 million on the day, 1 on the relative volume. So doing right about what it's been doing for the last 10 days, give or take. But, these are things I look for. Appears something I traded way, way, way back. I can see that it's hit this resistance, and this line here, I probably drew a very long time ago. And it played a role today. I mean, and it's been, let's see how long since this price action has been near that line, if I can even get it on the chart. That's how long it's been since I looked at this chart. So we got to come all the way back to 2 years ago before the price of the stock was up here. And I drew this line at least 2 years ago, and 2 years later, it has quite the relevancy right here. So big deal. That's a big deal as far as the resistance goes there on that and that price action. So just funny how that works. And, there are times it's not exactly, there's no exact perfect science to these pivot lines. We poked through here, we made a pullback, and we couldn't even challenge it today. So we consolidate and move up. We'll have to see. Time will tell. But that's not going to make my cut for today anyways on that list. So HSBC, we saw that KRE and KB were um, towards the top of that list. So, these are things that we're looking at here, bank ETFs. So I'm not surprised to see some bank stocks on this list. And this list will keep shifting on us here for this last few minutes as it winds down for the day, or the market itself winds down for the day. And we can see we got a big, well, I won't call it big. Things are relative these days. Big pullback seems to be 1.5% in the market, and the sky is falling. But we've got a red candle forming here on the SPY, selling off right into the close here. So, gap down and kind of stayed right down there for the day, range bound. Nothing really to write home to mom about, but let's look at the big picture. Zoom the SPY chart out on 15 minutes. We're still sitting near the nosebleed seats of all time high, and even with all this damage that was done here, and really that's no damage whatsoever, it was almost immediately recovered. So, make of these things what you will. And again, I've got no prepared content here. I'm really here for Q&A and demonstrating things here on the software. But again, throw out anything to keep me talking and keep me moving, and try to keep this all interesting for everybody. And again, I can see things that are all energy related here. I just saw Halliburton down there. I believe this is something with aluminum, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, there we go. Iron, steel. Seeing a lot of stuff I've been seeing over the last few months. Banking. What do we got here? Energies. Goodyear tire. That thing is just really pulled away. I liked this a few days ago and was involved in some other trades. Money was allocated, but made the move I thought it might make. This is going. FHB will be banking. And this is an energy ETF. So again, I mean, the common theme here, breaking out on 20 days, breaking above 20-day positions right now, energy and banking. It's all energy and banking, all through up here. Almost everything you look at on this. Some electronics that are in here. That's, where's the money flowing? Well, we know where the money's flowing right now over the last 20 days. This is where it's going. So now it's time to find the plays there. Like I said, I like to find these. I put them on a short list. I scan for them that way the next day. Kind of. We don't have them on longer term time frames exactly. But if you were to come to an alert list or alert window, right click, search, and go to pivot, you have these here. Distance from pivot 1 and 2, distance from pivot, and so R2, R1, and S1, S2. So resistance 2 and 1, support 2 and 1. And that's what we currently have right now. No, because of the way it's still held, John. You got to go in. You either have to unheart the charts, or you have to go into the my accounts page on the website and delete it through that. Those are the unfortunately the only two ways right now. They're not managed like the other symbols list, having to do with the data coming in via the charts versus you typing it into a symbols list actually. So that's what we have right now. Back to you there, Michael. As far as those resistance go, I know there's been a lot of people over the last, let's say, 3 months that are asking for like Carmela pivots or Camarilla pivots. I don't even know what they're called anymore. It's not something I'd ever heard of before. We saw a few emails of them. And there's another Chris that I work with that was able to help them with some formulas for them, but it was some fairly complicated stuff. So that's not really my forte, if you will, on those things. But there are ways to get some other look backs and a sense of those pivots, but none of it's easy. just an easy plug of things. You got to go into the formula editor and start to look at that stuff like that. So, and if you're wondering what the formula editor is, if you were on the home page and you went to log in, um, on the right hand side, you'll see custom formulas. And you can can bring over the pages of some of this stuff, but not all of it because it'll reveal my account information. But you have this here. All right, so this is the formula editor overview, and you can go through this. You'll find this on the accounts management page under custom formulas. It's a PDF. And you can go through this here and it'll go over how to create and the different codes and things like that. Or, well, not codes, but the formulas and acceptable operations here that you can use in the C programming language. And then we also have these here are the codes here that you can look at. All right. So these are as close to a raw code as you're going to get. And you can take these and put them in and use these different functions here, these programming functions, to create your own formulas. But you can't just make something up. It's got to be something that we have here already. So, for example, you can't say, well, we've got the volume 15 minute. You can't say, well, I want volume 14 minute. It doesn't exist within our data set, things like that. So let's see. I think we were talking about 52 week before. So let's see what I can find here. And like I said, I don't do a whole lot with customs. Just wasn't my bag. Oh, there's something in here. Well, this is essentially every filter that we have. This is a code for every filter we have. So you can combine things in different ways, essentially. And again, if you want to know more about customs, send an email into that info@trade-ideas.com. We've got a video that Michael Noss did. It goes over them. It's a short video, but it goes over the concept of it well, how to put them, into the scan or into your cloud, essentially, so that you can use those. And once they're in there, you can use them just like any other filter. So, these are the little workarounds that we have to create a few extra things. Get rid of those. Unharding as a group, no. The only way to do it as a group is in the account management page, and highlight whatever group you want, and delete them essentially on the symbols list of the account management page. You're welcome, Michael. So, all right, market's closed on us. And another day in the history books. So we'll see what tomorrow unfolds. Today feels like it was everybody waiting around and looking what the other person was doing kind of day. I never looked at what Barry's option scanner did. I was kind of tied up with a lot of brokerage plus stuff today. Let's take a look at Barry's option scanner today. That was actually from last Friday, the way it loaded when I started at 5 o'clock this morning. Start my days early. So let's see, that came in at 289. Really caught the top, so nothing special there. 447, not a bad alert. Never got you in trouble off the alert here. So, entered this candle, stayed kind of range bound, tried to break that range, but kind of held it. And made its move up there, held that move until the end of the day, a few more cents. So not anything bad. And go figure, gas and oil. I think we're going to see that theme play out a lot, and see my sins of the past here. Look at all these lines that I have drawn here. Those probably my first year or two of trading where I thought every single wick was a pivot line. Let's see what else came from Barry. DMYI. So, nope, not anything very great there. Caught the top of that. CRVS. And Let's see. So 771 got us over 8. Nothing special, but a few pennies there. That alert came up and came range bound for a few moments there. Made a move up before giving it up on the day. So had a few minutes there. Those are 15-minute candles. So definitely had some time to get in. Definitely had some time to get out. Keep it moving. And let's see, 664. So this was a great alert. I came in at 10:26, 21 seconds. Got the alert on this candle here, and made an hour move up for almost topping out around $8. Held up around here, so plenty of time to have gotten out for some decent money. And he never came back down near the entry either on that. So very nice alert from Barry's option scanner. This one not so much. We're taking the other side of the tape. Jaws Spitfire Acquisition Corporation. That's SPAC written all over it. And, on a 5-minute chart, you had a moment to get in there and get out. So, if you play those kind of moves, those fast movers, definitely had some time there. Again, not my cup of tea. But if you weren't quick to get out there, you're coming back down to break even pretty fast, over that 45 minutes. Made a move back up again before giving a ugly release for the rest of the day. Once again, I'm just filling airtime here, so please, chime in, questions. Anybody new that's joining? What are we doing here? What am I talking about? What am I showcasing? Something you want demonstrated? Let's see. So that came in 10:43. Same kind of thing here. Not a whole lot to say on this one, I don't believe. LUR. Looks like that was also a Holly alert recently. Same thing. Nothing really much to write home to mom about. A few cents into the money, literally. That was it. Southwestern Energy Corporation. This is one I recognized from a while ago. Solid day. The alert came a little late for it, unfortunately. So, a little bit of alpha there and a steady climb. So, gap up. We're in the range. Move up. In a range. In a range. And end of the day, move up. So, stayed strong right into the close, too, I would say, overall. Might be something to watch in the coming days. And sorry, there's a chat coming into our other support area, so I just wanted to see what was going on there. Again, fire away. I'm coming to the end of this list from Barry today. So, designer brands. So let's see. My Twitter. Oh, I don't know if you're gonna want my Twitter, but I'll give it to you. I stray from the financials sometimes, but here, won't ever offend anybody. But there you go. You don't like me, mute me or block me. That's my Twitter handle. So yeah, designer brands came in 15:05 was the alert on this wick up here. Not bad, a few cents to have in there, and it held up after that alert for the rest of the day. So, room to run up here somewhere in the 16 range. We'll see what happens. It's a big day to follow through, but definitely worth an eye on. That was god awful. Literally top ticked it looked like before collapsing. And Lucy, not really Lucy, but close enough. And same kind of thing, I mean, a little bit on there, not a whole lot. To 1222 off in a 1196 alert. So, again, kind of had to be quick on that one. So, I don't think that was anything realistic getting anything out of. That's that scanner there. So, again, fire away the questions. Anybody, what we're doing. You got a chart you want to look at. I'm I'm no CMT, I'm no chartist, but you know for whatever it's worth, I'll throw my 2 cents in there. Keep it moving, keep it discussing. And let's see here. These guys are talking about a chart somewhere over here. I see. Yes, I see. What did I see do again today? This is one of these ones that broke my heart here. I had bought it on this day here. I bought the top actually on that day there, and I killed the trade a couple days later here, and then it did that. But then it did that, and I was like, oh, all right, what are you gonna do? And then it did that, and that was really sad. Hindsight trading, it is what it is. Everybody's got those. So I saw Barry had discussed it earlier in some internal chats here, and I was trying to catch up on those. And again, please fire away some questions here, folks. Let's see. I had something that I was working on, and then I got distracted with today. So I'm trying to work on a cross alert actually myself, but I didn't get to finish putting in what I wanted to before the market opened, and that was that. So, and it's firing off so many alerts that I can't even that it erased all the early alerts from the day. What I was trying to do here is find a cross on an 8 EMA. So yeah, absolutely. My evening scan, happy to share that. So let's see. I'll go over what the filters are in it in a second. I'll put a cloud link to it for you here. Like I said, there's nothing magic about it. I happen to find some kind of cup and handle patterns in it. And then, like I said, finding the things that are breaking out over 20 days. So you can go ahead and you click that link and you'll be able to load the scan from there. And did I close that scan yet? No. So if we right click, configure, and we'll come to summary here. And I'm looking for stocks in between $4 and $30. Relative volume was 1 today. Traded at least 750,000 shares. It's 75% above the low of today's range and 75% above the low of the 20-day range. And I have it sorted by close dollar value. I actually usually like to sort for close percent, but it's all the same. It's not going to affect anything with the scan for me. So that's more or less what that's looking for. And now would be an opportune time to go through it again. So, okay, I see Andy told me he's sending someone here for a question. And I saw something come in. Those 50 SMA dropper, the next day gap up, way out above. Can't understand the reason behind it. Fine, it's pure luck. Keep in. Yeah, you're welcome, Michael. What do you mean 50 SMA dropper? Like it drops below the 50 SMA, David? I mean, I would say for something to drop below the 50 SMA, probably some news or some kind of catalyst to it. I was told to watch this here. I'm not a post-market person, but I was told keep an eye here. I guess it has some news post-market. It got halted today even. This is one of those movers, that's for sure. Elon Musk. That's a big deal. Something for me right to stay with. Oh yeah. Well, IC had news, I believe, right? So hovering that 50. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So I have the 50 is this green line here. Drop below it and literally pop. But that was news. There's nothing. That's the double-edged sword to these pharmaceuticals. It could drop right the other way. There's a few stocks that have done it recently where they just gave up 40, 50, 60% overnight in a gap down. Um, you know, FDA bad news or whatever bad news. So it's you live by the pharmaceutical, you die by the pharmaceutical, both real life and the stock market, just kind of the way that it goes. So and again, please, fire away some questions. And I see a rotation of people coming in and out. I see there's supposedly 13 people here now. So what are we? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Who is Trade Ideas? How do we create scans? So on and so forth. Um, I'll ramble on for a moment, although no one's talked about it or mentioned any of it yet. But I know automation is something big that people want to do, and automation's hard. It's got to be the hardest thing in trading by far. Um, a lot of reasons. I'm not going to go down all the rabbit holes of it, but what I've done for automation, something that is in a testing right now, is I used my evening scan and I started to create this my liked list. Now, some of these things on here stay a long time. I don't update this as much as I would like. But then I took this list here and then I've curated an even tighter list of things that I think really might have some kind of move the next day only, not something that might be setting up over the next week or two. Then I attach them to an alert window. I just put some simple filters in this alert window with a new high as the alert catalyst or event, and having some pretty good success so far with this here. It's not in an account that's looking to make money. It's in taking one share at a time and seeing what it does in a live account. Um, it's a long bias list. So in days that the market gets tanked, learn to not use that on those days. That's all there is to it. Don't set this list out on those days. And that's kind of how it's worked so far. On days that are sideways, it's been hit or miss, and days that are up, it's up and up well. For example, now this list isn't the same as it was Friday, but on Friday this list was 7 points. $7 up, taking one share of the stocks that came through it. Today was extra active, some real winners, some real losers, but it's another way to say, hey, well, I want to automate, but I also don't want to look at 8,000 stocks in my automation, and even cutting it down with alerts and filters. I can't seem to get a good handle on an automation scan. Well, what if that automation scan was a simple scan with some really good looking charts and really good setups? So that's kind of, another way to continue to use the tools that are here if that was something that you're interested in. So you had more questions on it. I'll answer specific questions, but I just touched on it slightly there. We'll go through a few of these alerts here. So a lot of what's on this list is going to be energy. So a nice alert there and kind of a steady day. I'll move this drawing tool over, make this easier for me. Some of these fell apart. I think AR kind of came undone on me and I got stopped out on that. So yeah, top ticked it before recovery. Unfortunately, while it was up $1.50 on the day, the way the alert window works wasn't healthy for that particular move. Same kind of concept there. Same concept. Kind of hung around the alert for the day. A little bit of alpha on that one. So, we can see some different themes. This one worked out well. Fee sell. Magnolia worked out well. So we can see a theme here. A lot of energy is what I've been looking at. That's what's coming through the scanner. That's what's catching my eye. And again, we go back to things here. That's what I'm seeing. Might not be there to your eye, and I might be seeing it biased and in a healthy way, but Again, that's what I see. A, B, and B swing short overnight. Let's take a look at A, B, and B. So, well, hope that you got your entry somewhere back in here. That would be nice. Good way to end it. Your RSI here on the daily starting to curl down a little bit. That could play in your favor. And see what it does. That's an 8 EMA, so it's extended off that a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised to see it drop towards it. And what I always like to do too is any kind of recent highs or daily highs. I like to put a horizontal line on them, and let's take a look back at what that looks like on a daily chart. That goes populated there. So, well, you kind of rate at a resistance level as it is right here, it looks like. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, as I have no stake in Airbnb. I like to see people win. So EDub, I hope that gaps all the way down to 170 for you tomorrow. Again, if there's some questions here, fire away. I'll click through these a little bit more. RRC, some of these worked out okay, not too shabby on some of them. Vermilion Energy, same kind of thing. Some of these, they got those gap ups, they kind of cost me. So a lot of them you see 6% move on the day, but catching it towards the top, and it just kind of hangs there, unfortunately. I'm sure that'll equal steak dinners for a week if you got that, something like that, I bet. So something for your alternative energy lithium ion plays. This continues to look interesting to me. I liked it on, what day did I like this on? Let's not guess. Let's take a look. Let's pop this chart out and duplicate it into a free floating window so I can take a look. And according to my I like that on September 23rd. All right. I believe it was in the morning because I was doing morning scanning that day. Look at that. 9:09 a.m. It's a good memory, Chris. That's the 22nd. So I liked it on here on that gap up. Watching it. See a red bar, green bar. So we had what's called a red bar ignore today. For those that aren't familiar what a red bar ignore is, you have this red bar sandwiched between these two green bars here. And the bodies of those green bars are completely engulfing the body of that red bar. And so that is a bullish signal. Now, whether that equals a bullish price action tomorrow, your guess is as good as mine. It's extended off the 9 EMA here, coming way off the 20 SMA, but you do have the 20 SMA crossing the 50 SMA. So for those that like to play any sort of crosses, that's cross for you right there. That started over the weekend, started going into the weekend. So there you have it, sports fans. It's a new issue stock. Canadian. Yes, this was one of the Canadian ones for lithium. So, we're above the IPO price, a healthy chunk above the IPO price, and, all-time high of 909 right there. There you go, lifetime high. Very reasonable distance within that, 127 in the float. So even with that said, this has got a pretty good trading range we can see right now. $5 here, $8 here. So, over a month to have a $3 trading range like that, something that can move. Definitely good price action, good trading vehicle, good trading tool. If you're looking at longer term plays, EVs, a lot of people believe are, regardless of anything else, the way we head. And so different ways to play those EVs essentially. So, all right, Michael, I see a question coming in. If you have an algo that appears good, is there a way to have TI evaluate the approach, maybe like a peer review? I'll say yes-ish. If you got an alert window that you really like, send it in, and we can take a look and see what it says to give you some assistance or troubleshooting in it now as far as back testing. So I'm just going to use this as an example here and back test the strategy, but pay no mind to what actually happens in the back test. I want to show you what to look for in end results of a back test. This is going to be skewed because it's a symbols list that's constantly changing that's attached to this. So yes, I know what it's showing, something fantastic, but pay no attention to the man behind the curtain of this. Now we can see here that this all looks great here. All right. Winner is 75%, and your average loser is 36 cents, and your average winner is, your average winner is 36 cents, your average loser is a quarter. You got a good strategy return, 4.33 on profit return. However, you could have 1 or 2 days that were massive up days that get you this equity curve. All right. And you won't know it unless you come to and look at the daily here. Now, this was only back tested for 2 days. So, of course, it looks good on this daily, showing both days as winner, and this was Friday, so this was a huge winner, and not so much as a huge winner there for today. My point being is that you want to see a good sample size. We can go back to about 64 days, market days, give or take, because of market holidays, but that's as far as our look back goes. And you want to see a better set of days here. So let's get rid of that. Let's open this back up. I didn't realize I was going to test for such a short time. So we back test. We go to advanced. I don't want 2 days. I want 64 days. I'm going to simulate the buy. And again, the end results isn't what I'm looking for, other than I want to just show you, what you want to see on a good back test. So it's going to take a second to wrap up here. And when you're completion, touchdown. So, all right, here we go. Looking much different, of course, on that back test when we come down to the daily. And now we can see on the daily here, one huge day makes a big difference, right? But you got all these losers to contend with nonstop. And so that's an ugly back test. That's the way that goes. So that's, something that you can work on right away without having any other peer review is, what does this look like on a daily here? You see a lot of green days, and less red days. That's what you want to see. So that comes from Mr. Michael Noss himself when I'm doing my back testing and, kicking things around. So I hope that gets you something decent to start work with. And like I said, you can send in a link. I'll be honest, I'm one of the few people that does much back testing, and sometimes I go months without doing it, and then all of a sudden I get I go down a rabbit hole with a lot of back testing. Some of the other guys, they don't really do much back testing at all. They just they have their scans that they like, they trade, they've been doing it forever. I have not been doing this forever, so I like all the bells and whistles and the tools. And sometimes I'm just bored at night, and I get an idea in my head, and I just start testing it away. So send it in. We could take a look at it, and anything that we could add that helps. Hopefully, we could add something, some value to you. Oh boy, ACY bottom tail net daily, make you wonder. There's juice left in it. ACY. So there was a theory that someone that I work with had about big bottoming ticks and big bottoming tails, and if those get filled after you see those big moves, those flash moves, if you will. I think a whole lot was ever made of it, or a lot of research done into it, but always leaves something to wonder here. Yes, and like you said, you see something like that here, now you got to wonder. All that work that the sellers put in on that gap down, and they couldn't kill it. Not to mention, as the market looked a little weak into the close, this looks strong into the close. So let's see. But one thing I will say is, not even 200,000 shares traded today. So that's going to be something I bet has a spread on it, to say the least. But commercial rail and, transportation, another sector, especially shippers, you've got some major issues with shipping going on. Supply ships having trouble getting out of China, getting docks. Excuse me, a little tired. So on and so forth. So, we'll see how that all plays. Let's take a quick, closer look. I'm sorry. And we start to wrap into the end of to the middle of the hour here, and I do have to run at 4:30, unfortunately. So, but business, investing, use, regional aircraft equipment leased, foreign, domestic, aviation. So aviation shipping, interesting price action on it for sure. I mean, that's a wicked tail, huge trading range today. Definitely, if those are the kind of things you like, that's something definitely to watch. So I'm going to throw it out there, guys. Any last minute questions here before I have to run in the next minute and a half or so? Any as one of the fellowships would say, any burning desires out there? My pleasure. I hope this was informative and helpful. That it get anybody to that next level of things that they're looking for. And like I said, certainly the next several weeks I'll be doing this 3:30. I'll run it to 4:30 most days. There might be a day or two where I stay overtime. Um, Hopefully, we get a decent enough turnout and enough interaction that it warrants us doing this absolutely moving forward permanently. Over the coming weeks, months, and years even. So with that, I will bid you all a fond farewell for Monday, and I will be back here tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern. As I say, same bat time, same bat channel. So, all right, everybody, you have a wonderful rest of your evening and take care. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye bye.